For the past 10 years, we've been hearing it blasted at us from every direction. Electric cars are the future, a technological revolution that will save the planet and reduce our dependence on oil. Electric cars are convenient. No maintenance, no oil changes, no spark plug replacements. A convenient autopilot that will take you from point A to point B all by itself. Electric cars are about saving money, saving tens of thousands of dollars on gas. But what if I told you that the electric car is not salvation, but the most expensive marketing lie of the 21st century? A lie that the pioneers of green technology are still paying for. What if behind all those beautiful presentations there are problems nobody wants to talk about? So in this video, let's throw away the fairy tale promises of green marketers and drive into harsh reality. And the first disappointment every owner of a car of the future faces is charging and range. In nicely packaged presentations, we hear about some fantastic range that supposedly doesn't lag behind internal combustion cars from 3 to 400 miles, and in some models even from 4 to 500 miles on a single charge. However, these are sterile laboratory numbers that have nothing to do with harsh reality, obtained in ideal conditions, with the AC turned off, with a 40-pound pilot and at a speed of 10 miles per hour. In reality, if a Tesla gives you even from 180 to 250 miles on a single range in good weather, that's already happiness. And even then, under those numbers, we mean a full battery cycle, from 100 to 0. But in reality, you will almost never charge your car to 100%. You will protect the battery by keeping it in the 20-80 range. And you start frantically looking for a charging station on the map already at 15-20%. From that, we get that your comfortable range, when you are driving and not stressing that the car is about to die, is at best around 150 or 180 miles. Those are decent numbers when you live in California, in your own house, with your own garage and your own three-phase power. And your Tesla is the second or third car in the family, which you use only for commuting or going to the nearest Walmart. In that case, an electric car is your ideal choice. It really requires almost no maintenance, you really will save thousands of dollars on gas and registration taxes. But what if you live in an apartment building in Minnesota or Colorado? What if your job requires constant long-distance travel? That's right, you become a permanent slave to the charging map. Because in a snowy winter with the heater on, the range of an electric car drops by another quarter. And the moment your car goes down to 20-30%, you already start frantically monitoring the charging map looking for a free and walking station. Planning a long trip stops, being a spontaneous family road trip with music and fresh air, and turns into paranoid range anxiety. A car is first and foremost about freedom. A freedom to wake up one weekend and drive with your family to another state. A freedom to drive hundreds of miles from Colorado to California to the ocean. An electric car takes that freedom away from you, turning you into an endless logistics manager, building routes for dozens of charging stations. Let's remember the lap numbers, from 3 to 400 miles, or the more realistic 180 to 250 in ideal weather conditions. And imagine, you left your car outside in 5-degree frost in the morning just to create some kind of comfortable temperature inside that mercilessly devours kilowatts. You get behind the wheel, and for the first 10-20 miles, the cold battery works under brutal strain, showing insane consumption of 25-30 kilowatts per mile instead of 20-25 in normal. You get onto the highway and drive at 75-80 miles per hour. Aerodynamic drag, together with the heater and the insane load on the battery, starts draining the charge even faster. So even out of a somewhat realistic 180 miles in bad weather, your car will go maybe 120 at best. That's not freedom. That's constant paranoia about getting stuck in traffic. Constant paranoia about not finding a charging station on some deserted highway. Watching how the car mercilessly eats away at your battery percentage. I know many people who bought a Tesla as a fashionable gadget for the family, but for trips to another state, they prefer a reliable diesel wagon. With it, they are sure they will get anywhere. They are sure they can refuel in any godforsaken town, and it will take at most 5 minutes, even if they grab coffee and hot dogs. From here comes the second problem: battery degradation and resale liquidity on the secondary market. What questions do we focus on first when buying a car? Reliability, repairability, and the ability to resell it profitably. None of that is about electric cars, because every battery degrades over time, especially if you charge on fast Tesla superchargers. Long-term battery condition predictability in electric vehicles is studied far less than the common high-mileage issues of internal combustion engines. In the first years, a Tesla loses about from 10 to 15% of real range. After that, it's luck, depending on cycles and how you treated it. And accordingly, an electric vehicle loses liquidity on the used market. The secondary market, no matter what anyone says, is the most honest judge. Why, for example, does a BMW X6 with a 3-liter diesel engine hold higher resale value than the same X6 with N67 engine, even though the second car is higher class, because B58 diesel engines are indestructible monsters with minimal issues. A car with that engine isn't scary to own for many more years. The same applies to Tesla. Buying a used electric car is Russian roulette. You are buying a cat in a bag. The battery is the most important and most expensive component, but you cannot check its real condition and health without complex and expensive equipment in a specialized service center. Think about it. Why would a simple worker from Nebraska need some gadget with an unclear battery condition and unknown long-term issues? He asks himself, how profitably will I be able to sell it after a few more tens of thousands of miles? He doesn't need an expensive fashionable gadget. He needs a reliable, understandable, and most importantly liquid car that he can quickly and without major losses sell in a couple of years. When he wants to upgrade, electric cars also become morally outdated. A new autopilot comes out, a new firmware version comes out, and a fashionable gadget is no longer relevant. Remember the massive price drops on Teslas and the overall decrease in EV demand in the US in 2024. People played with green technology. People realized an electric car is not a car in the traditional sense. It's not about clarity and freedom. It's an expensive toy, a gadget on wheels for geeks from sunny California, where everyone has their own house with their own charger and it's 70 degrees all year. After playing with cheap loans and subsidies, the market is oversaturated. People slowly start looking into their wallets and see that the emperor is necked. And here another problem arises. It would seem that a simple worker from Alabama always asked the main question: savings. Savings on fuel and maintenance, which is one of the biggest and most cynical myths when buying an electric car. Let's once again step behind the curtain of marketing promises and look at pure math. Despite government subsidies, despite lower electricity prices compared to gasoline, are electric cars really that cheap? An electric car is almost entirely made of complex electronics. Repair on it is a whole quest. Any accident, even below average severity, is much easier to total out than to repair such complex and poorly studied equipment. And the cost of replacing the battery in case of degradation from $15,000 to $25,000. And that's not even mentioning a lithium-ion battery fire that can burn for hours and destroy all nearby cars. An electric car is a hell for insurers, so the insurer immediately builds all risks into the insurance cost. And if you don't have your own house with charging, the cost of ownership increases many times, because fast Tesla superchargers are not cheap. Yes, they're still cheaper than a full tank of gas. However, in a diesel sedan, you can comply drive for 2 more weeks after refueling, while an electric car, you will have to charge every 3-4 days with active use, which practically evens out the cost of ownership, if not increases it. A 3-year-old gasoline Ford or a 2-liter diesel BMW is a car thoroughly studied, that you can repair in any Uncle John's garage. It's simple and understandable metal, with minimal electronics, which makes it more repairable. However, even if everything above doesn't scare you, we move to one of the most sensitive questions every car owner asks: safety. Because this factor is one of the main ones when we choose the machine we plan to transport our family in. We will consider it using Tesla as an example. Yes, we take Tesla precisely because it is the largest and the most visible player on the American EV market. Let's look at the Tesla interior. How hard did they have to piss in people's ears to convince them the absence of an instrumental cluster, the absence of physical buttons, and one stuck in the middle touchscreen tablet, that this is not stupidity, this is minimalism, this is style, this is the future. How hard did they have to piss in people's ears to convince them that steer-by-wire in a heavy 3-ton monster called the Tesla Cybertruck is safe, jazz selection on tablet, that's safe, touch-sensitive turn signals, that's safe, autopilot without LiDAR, which already exists in every Chinese electric car, that's safe. We have all seen the viral videos where a Tesla crashes into a stretched transparent film because there is no LiDAR. Imagine the situation. You are driving on a highway in the rain and your windshield suddenly fogs up. In a car with physical buttons, you can tactically feel the max defrost button, glancing at it for a quarter of a second. On a tablet, can you just as quickly tap that icon without taking your eyes off the road? However, this is not even the main fear of electric car owners. You have all seen those terrifying videos of burning Teslas, which I prefer not to show in my video. You have seen how a burning Tesla cannot be extinguished for hours, how it is completely submerged in water and the car keeps burning. You have all heard the horrifying news about people trapped in death-aligned chemical fire. However, green tech believers will immediately argue with me, but gasoline cars catch fire much more often. And yes, it's hard to argue with you. Statistics do show that internal combustion cars catch fire much more often than electronic ones. However, humans are emotional creatures. They fear not dry statistics, they fear the unknown and the unpredictable. An internal combustion car fire is something understandable and predictable. We've seen it in movies, we know how it happens. You have 2 minutes to exit the vehicle and firefighters quickly extinguish it. A lithium-ion battery fire is chemical hell. It's an absolutely spontaneous and unpredictable phenomenon. Electronics shut down, doors lock, and God help you that in panic, you quickly figure out how to pull the emergency lever. Do you give all your friends and relatives riding with you in a Tesla a safety briefing and explain the emergency lever inside the door pocket? Ask yourself that question. Your fashionable gadget can ignite at any moment, even 2 hours after an accident, parked into your garage or next to other cars. And worst of all, you will not be able to extinguish it by any means until the chemical reaction fully ends. Insurers understand this, assess the risks, and therefore immediately include such probability in the already expensive insurance cost. And finally, the cornerstone that Greens shout about louder than anymore, the environment. Internal combustion cars destroy our atmosphere with emissions, they say. But is an electric car really that eco-friendly? Mining lithium and cobalt for lithium-ion batteries is complex and dirty production. It's child labor in Congo mines. And disposal of lithium-ion batteries is just as complex and long, so often batteries are simply stockpiled, damaging the environment. And recycling at this stage is far from ideal. Electricity in such volumes does not come from thin air. It comes from old, good thermal power plants. Imagine how much coal would need to be burned if everyone switched to electric cars. How much more lithium and cobalt would need to be mined. The best thing you can do for the environment, if you care so much about it, is drive your old car until it is scrapped, so as not to stimulate production of new ones. And the attempt to promote electric cars under the banner of caring for the environment is blatant and cynical hypocrisy. It is an attempt to knock out government subsidies from Brussels and American officials. Subsidies paid for by a farmer in an old fort out of his taxes. So let's sum it up. An electric car is not progress. It's not a miracle. It's an experimental technology, heavy muff with a bunch of variables that green marketers forced us to believe in. It's a technology whose infrastructure is simply not ready. An electric car is a political statement. Look at me. I'm fashionable. I'm silent. I'm progressive. I'm not like those dinosaurs in farting pickup trucks. However, the green hysteria is slowly fading. Many manufacturers like Ford are cutting back electric car production. Tesla is suffering losses because people have started sobering up. People no longer want to make a political statement. People don't want Brussels officials and Silicon Valley geeks deciding what they should drive. We want old proven metal with known issues, not moody software. We want to refuel our car in 2 minutes and drive hundreds of miles to another state, not be hostages to a charging mob. We want to service our car in any back alley garage and then profitably sell it after 5-6 years of use, not think about how badly the battery will degrade. We do not want to entrust our life and safety to electronics. We want to take responsibility for driving ourselves. And finally, we don't need a gadget on wheels. We need a car. A car in the traditional sense of the word. Good old safe metal. A car as a freedom and as the great democratizer that the automobile was meant to be. Hit like if you agree with my thoughts and hit dislike if you don't. Write your opinion in the comments, and with that I say goodbye.